Cereal time, cereal time, cereal time, whoa.
Don's license plate.
Beside a license plate?
Yeah, the license plate.
What's up, cereal heads? Today we're going to talk about license plates. Now I know you're probably like, hey, the last video you posted was a French fry crawl and this one's about license plates. What happened to all the cereal content? But I promise you this one is cereal related. See, we're not talking about regular license plates you'd find on cars. We're talking about the classic mini license plates that you would find as prizes in cereal boxes. Now this trend started way before I was born, so I might get some details and dates wrong, but I'm going to give you a brief overview of things before we get up to the 80s and show you my collection of mini cereal license plates. And before I get too into the weeds, I want to give a shout out to Jim Moini's website, which catalogs all of this mini license plate stuff. You can check it out. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to go deeper into that rabbit hole. All right, let's start way back in 1953. I think this was the first example of them giving away mini license plates in or with cereal boxes. And the first cereal to ever do it, Wheaties. Back in 1953, General Mills and Wheaties started this promotion where you could collect different state license plates on packages of Wheaties cereal. You could also send away for different collections of license plates with a box top and 25 cents. I think there were 4 different collections of 12 different license plates you could send away for from each region. They had Eastern, Southern, Midwest, and Western. So for $1, you could collect all 4 sets, and they'd even throw in a bonus Washington, D.C. license plate too. Now you might be saying 4 times 12 is 48. Aren't you missing 2 states? But you gotta remember, this was 1953. When they did this promotion, Alaska and Hawaii weren't states yet. I don't think they became states until 1959. However, Alaska and Hawaii were included in one of the additional sets that year. They also had collections of foreign license plates in addition to the domestic version. There was a 10-plate collection of U.S. territories, which included Alaska, Hawaii, Virgin Islands, Guam, Philippines, and a few others. There was a 12-plate Canadian collection, which included places like Quebec, Ontario, Nova Scotia, British Columbia, etc. And then there was a 10-plate Old World and Europe collection, which included places like Cuba, Iran, Turkey, and Monaco. Now, Wheaties did this same promotion again the following year in 1954 with a whole new set of 48 license plates and another Washington, D.C. bonus plate. However, that year they didn't do a foreign or Canadian set, but Quaker stepped in to pick up the slack. On their puffed wheat boxes, you could send away for the 1954 collection of Canadian license plates. Now, after 1954, they stopped the mini license plate promotion, even though it was pretty popular. In 1960 is where we first see Post get into the mini license plate game. They did a promotion where they have 5 different plates on the back of boxes that you could cut out. They came with fun state facts, but they were cardboard, not the real deal. By 1963, General Mills got back into the game, although these weren't real license plates again, they were reflective stickers of license plates. In 1968, Quaker's Life did a mini license plate giveaway. You could send in a box top and $1 and get all 10 collectible plates, but these still felt like they were lacking compared to the 1953 Wheaties plates. But thankfully, 1968 was also the year that Post decided to bring back the 50-state set of collectible U.S. mini license plates. They were offered in boxes of Honeycomb and Alpha-Bits and maybe some other Post cereals, though I'm not quite sure about that. And remember, this was 1968, so Alaska and Hawaii were official states now. We had 50 state sets. This was a really popular promotion, so they ran it again in 1970 and they introduced another new set of 50 state license plates. Here's a commercial from that year.
When you got a license to ride, you know where to ride to. Ride for Post Honeycomb. Get the greatest present that ever came in a great cereal. The new 1970 plates from all 50 states, real metal, real tough, and they're free. 1 free in every box. Put them on your machines and ride out for Post Honeycomb.
Kids must have really loved this promotion because they kept running it over and over again. They ran it in 1975, they ran it in 1978 and 79. Here's the Alpha-Bits commercial from 1975.
There's an adventure in every bowl of Alpha-Bits.
One day I was eating Alpha-Bits. Yeah? And a ghost tried to scare me. What did you do? I ate them. Then I had Alpha-Bits as part of a balanced breakfast. A metal license plate. I got New York, Montana, Indiana, Texas. You can get any one of 50 states. One metal license plate in each specially marked box of Post Alphabet cereal.
In 1980, they tried something a little different and issued cheaper plates without the embossing. They were just flat metal plates. People probably didn't love this version, so they returned to the embossed plates the next year. Though it is worth noting that 1980 was the first year they started doing vanity plates with names on them like Cactus for Arizona or Vroom for Indiana. They continue with these new sets every year. 1981, 82, 83, 84. I think they skipped 1985, but 1986 was the year that I remember this commercial.
They're here.
From across all 50 states, the 1986 miniature license plates, 3 inside Honeycomb, Florida, Michigan, and this, the See America plate, which makes you a winner of a dynamite family vacation to fun places from Walt Disney World to Hawaii. Details on specially marked boxes of Honeycomb cereal. Odds of winning 1 in 620,000. For a free entry, write Honeycomb, P.O. Box 5470, Ridgely, Maryland, 21660. If you get yours today, who knows where it might take you tomorrow.
This was the year I vividly remember getting Honeycomb boxes with these license plates in them. And it was from this year moving forward that it was strictly vanity license plates with names on them that related to the states. This is also the year that I have the full 50-state collection from, which I'll show you in just a second, but first let's finish out the timeline. So Post continued running this promotion in 87 and then again in 88. I have a Honeycomb box that you can see here from 1988 when they ran this promotion. You can see the front of the box here where they promote the mini license plate. It says Surfs Up on a California plate there. And then on the side of the box here, it has the offer so that you could send away and get the whole 50-state collection. Now, I don't remember if they ran this offer on other Post cereals. I just remember these big Honeycomb boxes with the promotion on the front and how I would always dig inside to see which state I could find. Now, they had a new set of plates in 1989, and then finally in 1990, Post ran their final mini license plate giveaway promotion. And we haven't gotten them in cereal boxes since then, which is a shame, right? It's such a fun and easy prize to include inside of cereal boxes. If they reintroduced this today, you can't tell me you wouldn't be buying boxes of Honeycomb or other cereals to try to collect as many license plates as you could. Alright, so let's get back to that complete collection of 1986 mini license plates from Post and run through all 50 states. Now on this little retro nostalgic road trip down memory lane, you'll notice that some of these license plates still look the same, although a lot have changed over the past 40 years. First up, we have Alabama, and you can see it says cotton here because there are a lot of cotton fields in Alabama. That makes sense. You got Alaska here, that's the last frontier, so there's lots to explore there. Arizona, the Grand Canyon state, has lots of deserts and cacti, so cactus makes sense. Arkansas is the state known as the land of opportunity. I'm not really sure what champ means there. Any ideas? California, the Golden State, home to Hollywood and lots of movie stars. Connecticut is called the Constitution State, and theirs says nutmeg. Now I had to look this one up. Apparently, the Nutmeg State is one of their state nicknames, and it's because people back in the day used to make fake wooden nutmeg and sell them to tourists. I don't know, kind of weird. Delaware, of course, is the first state, so this makes sense. I saw many Delaware license plates growing up because that's where I went to high school. The Florida plate says get a tan, which is pretty self-explanatory for Florida. Georgia, of course, is famous for their peaches. I think their current license plate has a peach on it. Hawaii, of course, is the Aloha state, and they have some great beaches and known for great surfing. Idaho is famous for potatoes, so I guess Spuds makes sense, although I don't know why they're called Spuds. I should probably look that up. Illinois is the land of Lincoln, and this one says for fun, which I'm not really sure what that's a reference to. Maybe they were just being lazy and couldn't come up with anything. Indiana 500, of course, is a reference to the Indy 500 race that they have there. Iowa here is the state of my birth, and iFarm makes sense because there's lots of farms in Iowa. Kansas, of course, is famous for Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, so Toto makes sense. Kentucky here I thought would have had a Derby reference, but I guess Yahoo is an expression that people used to say before it was a website. Louisiana is known as a sportsman's paradise, which I didn't know, but jazz is obviously a reference to the birthplace of jazz, New Orleans, which makes it weird that when the NBA franchise moved to Utah, they kept the name Jazz. Maine has a lot of lighthouses, I guess. I didn't know it was referred to as vacation land. Maryland here doing a fun wordplay on seashore for their coasts. I would have done something related to crabs, maybe. Massachusetts has I Sail. Sure, why not? I guess there's a bunch of rich people who have sailboats in New England. Michigan went kind of lazy here with just the You Are It plate. Unless I'm missing something and that's a reference to the Great Lakes state in some way. Minnesota went with I Fish, which I guess that makes sense. There's lots of lakes in Minnesota to go fishing in. Mississippi is just Ole Miss. I guess they just went with the nickname. Kind of boring for that one. Missouri is called the Show Me State. I'm not really sure why it's called that, but of course, Ozarks is also very relevant. Montana has Glacier National Park, so that seems appropriate, also known as the Big Sky State. Nebraska is known as the Cornhusker State for all the corn they produce there, so popcorn makes sense. Nevada is the Silver State. I imagine play is a reference to all the casino games that you can play in Las Vegas, Nevada. New Hampshire is Live Free or Die State, and yep, they got a lot of skiing up there, so I ski makes sense. New Jersey is the Garden State, and Ace, I'm not really sure what that's a reference to, unless it's like the card games in Atlantic City, maybe. New Mexico is the land of enchantment, and it's definitely sunny there. There are a lot of enchanting places in New Mexico, although I'll say Albuquerque is not one of them. Sorry if you're from ABQ, I'm just not a fan. New York plates don't look like this anymore, although Liberty is obviously a nod to the Statue of Liberty there in New York City. North Carolina plates still kind of look like this, and they claim first in flight, so hang glide makes sense. North Dakota is apparently the Peace Garden State. I have no idea what that means, and hi to you is kind of boring, not personal. For Ohio, we have wow with an exclamation point. Now, apparently this is a reference reference to the WOW signal, which was an unexpected radio signal discovered in space by Ohio State University in 1977. Oklahoma has a lot of oil wells, I guess. It's not really the first thing I think about when I think of Oklahoma. Oregon has a lot of trees and a big timber industry up there, so I guess this one makes sense. Pennsylvania, of course, is known as the Keystone State, so this makes sense. These look very similar to the versions in 1996 when I got my license there. I guess Rhode Island is known as the Ocean State, so they have ocean there. I would have done something like small since Rhode Island's the smallest state. South Carolina has ice cream, and I'm not really sure about this one. I lived in South Carolina for a few years. I don't really know what this is a reference to, so if you do, please let me know. South Dakota's most famous landmark is, of course, Mount Rushmore, so this one makes sense. Tennessee is known as the Volunteer State, and country, I think, is a reference to country music scene there in Nashville, Tennessee. Texas has a very simple one. It just says y'all. This is definitely not what Texas plates look like today. Utah has hot dog, which I'm not really sure what that's a reference to. Are hot dogs really popular in Utah? I would have gone with something like Mormon. Vermont is known as the Green Mountain State, and shush, I'm not really sure what that's a reference to. Somebody from Vermont, please clue me in on this one. Virginia just has love it on there. It doesn't seem very personal or unique for that state. Washington does have a lot of evergreen trees up there. It's also the state's nickname. I think there's also a college named after Evergreen up there. West Virginia may be wild and wonderful as it says up top there, but it's not very creative because they just went with go for it. Wisconsin is America's dairy land, known for all their milk and cows and cheese, so moo makes a lot of sense. Lastly, we have Wyoming, and that does strike me as sort of old Westy or frontier, so cowboy makes a lot of sense for this one. So that's it, the collection of 1986 mini license plates from Post Honeycomb Cereal. I really wish General Mills or Post would bring back this promotion. I think it'd be really fun, and it seems like metal license plates are really easy and cheap to produce. Although these days companies don't like to do anything more than the bare minimum for their customers, so I doubt we'll see the resurgence of cereal box prizes or premiums. On the cereal news fronts, there's some new boxes that have just hit shelves, so they're coming soon, so I think I'm going to make a video about those next. Please stay tuned for that. I know it was a little something different, but hopefully you enjoyed this deep dive into mini license plates and cereal boxes. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay crunchy. Check out this alternate Ohio Buckeye license plate.